Football Queensland's coverage of the 2019 NPL, NPLW and FQPL season is brought to you by IFCA, Australia's only national football-specific coaching conference, 25th and 26th of May on the Gold Coast. Get your delegate pass today at ifcca.com.au. Play football. Join the team today. Visit playfootball.com.au to find your nearest club. Football Foundation, making football more accessible for every income, every gender, every ability, every background, every Indigenous Queenslander. Donate today.
Probably the biggest game of the National Premier League's Queensland season for both these clubs. It's Olympic taking on Lions in what is a repeat of last year's grand final. And it's an intriguing one for all the supporters here at Lions Stadium in Richland on a perfect night. We say it a lot up here in Queensland, but another perfect night for football. Perfectly calm and still, not a breath of wind, and the sun that has now set behind the grandstand opposite us is now in absolute perfect position, in that it's not creating any shadow for these players. Simon Smale with you today for this National Premier League Queensland match of the round for week 10. And it should be an absolute belter, especially if the 4 encounters between these two teams last season is anything to go by. We should thank the sponsors of both these clubs, Motorama and Luxury Paints for Lions. Without those supporters, they won't be able to get the team on the park each and every week. And Olympic, although I'd like to thank the Coffee Club for all their support in getting the team ready. Might be able to hear on the sound effects mic that there are a fair number of supporters in, and a lot of those are wearing red. And they're making an enormous amount of noise, not quite as vast in number as they were all the way back in September last year. That fantastic encounter between these two sides in the grand final. Big crowd then, slightly less in number, but they're certainly making themselves heard. The Olympic fans behind the goal away to our right, and they will be continuing to do that throughout the course of the evening. The players are not quite in the tunnel yet, but the Olympic bench and support staff, led of course by Ben Kahn, have just wandered their way out of that tunnel and are making their way towards the bench. Ben Kahn, who has led his side to a league position of 3rd spot from their 7 games, 6 wins and just the 1 draw so far, and the 1 defeat so far. That 1 defeat though was quite a heavy one. Peninsula Power doing the business in round 7 by 5 goals to 1. We've been blessed to see Olympic play over the last couple of weeks though, in which they've won 4-0 against Gold Coast United and 1-0 last week in what was a bit of a battle and an arm wrestle at home against Moreton Bay United. They've kept 5 clean sheets this year, conceded just 7 goals in their 7 games though. 2 of those came against Western Pride in round 3, which was in fact their first game of the season after having the bye in round 2 and then having their first round match up in Mackay ruled out due to rain. But then they conceded 5 against Peninsula Power in round 7. They drew 5 games last year, Olympic, which led them to a 2nd spot finish. That was the most in the league. Have they converted those draws to wins? Well, judging by last week's performance against Moreton Bay United, who put in a typically dogged performance and were restrictive, to put it mildly, at the back, you'd have to say that Olympic may well have turned that corner, and Ben Kahn knows that if they're to chase down Peninsula Power and indeed Gold Coast Knights, who occupy the 2 spots ahead of them on the league table, then they're going to have to continue working hard to do that. A lot of the goals so far this season. They've scored 24 of them, which is up there with the best. It's been supplied by Chris Lucas. He's got 9 in 7, the off-season acquisition. From Bentley Greens, former National Premier League Queensland winner, of course, with Palm Beach. He scored 9 goals. Yul Scholl, he's got 5. 7 of the 22 players involved in Olympics season so far have scored. Lions, the hosts, on the other hand, they did draw a single game last year. They only lost 3. Well, they've already lost 2 this year. And against the 2 teams that occupy first and second spot on the ladder last week down at Gold Coast Knights, as the 2 teams make their way out onto the field. To a cacophony of noise from the Olympic supporters. They haven't called the police, that's just the supporters using the microphone. They've got a variety of instruments at their disposal, which they'll be using with alacrity throughout the game. They did only lose 3 games last season. They've already up to 2, as I've already mentioned. Last time out, in fact, at Gold Coast Knights, Matthias Simic going off injured with a corked thigh. He returns to the starting lineup, incidentally. The inspirational captain for Lions. The other defeat came in the opening game of the season when, in the Football Queensland Foundation Cup, Lions suffered a 2-1 reverse to the league leaders Peninsula Power, who have just embarked on such a fantastic run since coming up to the top flight from the Football Queensland Premier League. They've won all 9 of their games and they have continued that run today. They were leading late on at AJ Kelly Park by 3-1 against South West Queensland Thunder. We'll check on that as we go forward throughout the afternoon, but I can confirm that they have won against South West Queensland Thunder by 3-1 after leading 3-0 at half-time. So a good performance from the Thunder in the second half at least. No real surprises in the lineup for Lions. In goal will be Luke Berean, 2 Andy Thompson ahead of him, Matthias Simic, Tommy Jarrett, and then Adam Sawyer, Chris Hatfield, Nathan Shepherd, Sean Carlos, Jason McQuarze, Danny Kim, Josh Brindle-South and Marek Madley leading the line. Marek Madley, who scored the winner in the grand final last year against Olympic in the 95th minute, the 95th minute of the game, the 5th minute of stoppage time, the 5th minute, sorry, of extra time. On the bench for Lions, Nathan Reardon, who scored the equalising goal in that match, that grand final victory. He's on the bench alongside returning player Mitch Hoare. Mitch Hoare, who's been absent for the entire season so far with a long-term injury. It's fantastic to see him back. And Warren Moon, speaking to him before the game, is equally pleased to see him back on the field, and he is really going to make a difference, you'd think, for Lions who have been suffering with injuries over the course of the season. Warren Moon describing some of his players hanging by a thread. How will Olympic be able to capitalise on that? Olympic, well, very much the same as they were last week, the team that beat Moreton Bay United by 1-0. The only difference, of course, being that Alex Smith is not starting this one. He is going to come off the bench after being named in Team of the Week alongside his teammate Kazuya Ito. Our assistants, Matthew Skinner will be the man in the middle. Lucinda Robertson and James Skerry, are going to be running the lines. You may notice that the Total Tools referees will be wearing black armbands today. That's in memory of Dieter Close, who's a long-term servant for Football Brisbane as a referee coach. He passed away on Thursday. The Total Tools referees across the National Premier League Queensland honouring him. It is the visitors in the blue shirts who get us underway, and they'll go onto the attack straight away. Costa Pizarros challenging Matthias Simic, and Matthias Simic so calm and so composed at the back, has to be one of the best defenders in the league. manages to deal with that threat fairly comfortably in these early stages here. Olympic are all the way back with James Brandon Cumineo, sorry, in the goal. James is playing at left back and he's on the ball now. He goes back to Brandon. Marek Madley was lurking, and now there's an opportunity for Sean Carlos to take possession. Carlos picks up possession once more. He's challenged and being harried and harassed by Jean-Philippe Larsen. It is an Olympic throw over on that far side, despite every single player within 15 yards of the ball putting their hands up. You'd expect that. A game of high stakes and high intensity. It will be like that the whole way through this one, you'd think. And that is reflected in the support that we're seeing. Could have been a little push there over on that far side, but it matters not. Madley has possession of the ball and tries to play in over on that far side. Kim, again, with a little bit of a push on Pizarros. Dias couldn't keep it in. He wins a throw-in, though, which he will take. Ben Dias, who certainly my player of the match. Shelford Dias, apologies. I'll get my teeth in a minute. In this one, as the nerves of the grand final replay getting to me as well, as I'm sure it will be the case for the players too, as Kazuya Ito gives away a free kick for a little late challenge on Sean Carlos. They're both still friends though. That wasn't the case in the grand final last year. The two sets of players did. Well, things got a little bit tasty, let's put it that way. And that was the case during the league campaign as well, in the round 16 defeat for Olympic here at Lions Stadium. 1-0. Marek Madley scoring it. Matt Mundy was shown a red card. You won't see a repeat of that stat, as Mundy is not in the squad. This ball's aimed deep towards Jason Makwaze. Headed back in towards Madley by Shepherd. It's picked up by Sawyer, sorry. Sawyer wide to Makwaze. Makwaze goes down fairly softly, but it is a Lions free kick, and he is given a round of applause, the referee, by Adam Sawyer, the former Brisbane Roar Hyundai A-League player who played just for 1 minute in the Hyundai A-League during his career at the Roar, and was also a non-playing member of the side that were involved in that disaster and catastrophe in the Asian Champions League, really, which Raw have not recovered. It's Cerros Negros, the unheralded Philippines side. Good opportunity here, though, for the hosts to really challenge Olympic. Andy Thompson, 25-year-old, standing over it. He scored once already this season in the match against East. He goes for goal here. It was ambitious, and it was ultimately fruitless. Far over the bar, and the camera may not pan back. Let's see the figure of Luke Barine, the distinctive figure of Luke Barine, who was actually standing in his own centre circle when that free kick was being taken. Every single other player was in the Olympic penalty area, so it wouldn't have mattered, but should Olympic have managed to retain possession and just launch the ball forward, who knows what would have happened. But Luke Barine is certainly his own man, and a very cool cat at that. He was resplendent in a fine suit. Only about half an hour before kickoff, he chose to change into his goalkeeping slacks. Makwaze hits that ball in towards who else but Marek Madley? And within seconds here, Lions have taken the lead. That's what the doctor ordered here at Lions Stadium. And Lions, who have been in danger of losing ground on the two leaders here in the National Premier League's Queensland, all of a sudden they are back on level pegging, really, with those teams ahead of them, particularly against such a key rival, Olympic. Falling to an early goal here, and it is that man, Marek Madley, his 5th goal of the season. And Olympic have all the work to do. in this one. Chris Lucas gets things started again, and we'll move straight out here to Shelford Dias. Dias goes inside to Nazari, and Nazari goes all the way back to Waters. Waters will use Brandon Kumaneo. Kumaneo has to be alert to the presence of Madley. Launches that one forward. It's dealt with very comfortably by Chris Hatfield. Nathan Shepherd, apologies. Makwase goes to ground by himself. I don't think he's injured, although he is just slow to get up there. Jez Lofthouse. It's a brilliant tackle from Andy Thompson. It had to be a brilliant tackle because Jez Lofthouse, as we've said so many times over the last fortnight or so on these National Premier League Queensland live streams, is just such a threat. Pissarros goes down. That was a little bit naughty from Adam Sawyer, and you should see our first yellow card. It is the first yellow card. He is being wisely encouraged to vacate the vicinity by his teammate Danny Keane. Adam Sawyer, and that's a wise decision, I think, rather than getting involved. Pissarros certainly looked like he was caught and certainly gave the impression that he was. Perhaps Adam Sawyer felt otherwise, but nevertheless it will be an Olympic free kick, and standing over it are Delphi Nazari and Kazuya Ito, a Japanese veteran. He's played such a key role for Olympic for over so many years. He's been here since 2013. Kazuya Ito plays for dummy. It's going to be Ito who drifts this one in towards the back post. And in fact, it was Chris Lucas and Jack Glover getting in each other's way there, and it results in a fairly comfortable gather by Luke Berea at his ankles. Makwaze's offside, so we can rule out any rapid turnover from here, and Olympic will be forced to build once again from the back. And here is Shelford Dias, who will attempt to play in Costa Pissarros. Offside was the call from Tommy Jarrett. Didn't matter, the flag never went up in any case. Bruin with the distribution out of the hand to Shepherd. Here's Makwaze up against Waters. Makwaze didn't start the season. Oh, it's nice football from Lyons. Sawyer squeezes that front to Makwaze. He's offside again. It's the second time in quick succession from Jason Makwaze that he hasn't been able to look across the line and maintain any semblance of discipline in that regard. That'll be something that frustrates Warren Moon, because that was a promising position that he found himself in acres of space inside the penalty area. And I dare say Brandon Kumaneo, who will take this free kick on the edge of his own 18-yard box, will be quite relieved to have seen that flag go up. It's going to come straight back from Shepherd. It's dealt with by Waters. Lucas picks up possession. Here's Lofthouse. Lofthouse attempts to go round. Can't quite see which Lions player it was. I think it might have been Tommy Jarrett. There was a look, an inquisitive look towards our Total Tools officiating team, but not quite sure where Tommy Jarrett was meant to go. He stood his ground and stood his ground well. It was good defending, but again, the presence of mind from Jez Lofthouse to even look for that possibility and try and play that ball behind just shows how dangerous Olympic are going forward. Kim dropping deep now for Lions in the orange, kicking from right to left as you see things. It's an aimless ball. Andy Thompson holds the thumbs up, the 25-year-old. But it's going to be a turnover regardless. James Kumaneo, who scored his first goal of the season, and first goal for a long time as far as I can tell based on the records, in that game down at Coplex in Talabadra a fortnight ago. Olympic supporters second-guessing themselves there, singing the Red and White Army, before realising that their team are in fact in navy blue tonight. The sentiments right, lads. Makwaze tried to do a dinking run. Instead, it's forward towards Sean Carlos by Nathan Shepherd. It was dealt with, though, by the Olympic defence, and that's a lovely touch from Jez Lofthouse. Lofthouse is going to aim that one forward towards Lucas. It is rather aimless, but Lucas is going to get on the end of it. Jared is there, and Jared does just enough. Danny Kim back in support, as well as the ever-present, omnipotent almost, Matthias Simic at the back there. And so I was a little late there on Nazari, and he just lays a hand on Nazari's shoulder. Nazari, who has been sent off in his National Premier League Queensland 2019 season. Sent off against Peninsula Power in that 5-1 defeat. A little bit of a discussion still going on between the referee and Nazari. Togosul's referee has seen the funny side of whatever was said. Matt Skinner has a good relationship with a lot of the players. It's one of Queensland's finest. Here's Shepherd, goes back to Simic. Simic looking for a good ball in the end. Brandon Kumineo did very well to read that threat and come out to make the header, but once again, if you leave Merritt Madley that much space, you can get caught. That was sloppy though from Makwaze, and he's played Nathan Shepherd into a spot above her. Fortunately for Lions, Chris Lucas's pass inside towards Elfie Nazari was a poor one, and Lions earned the turnover. Thompson lets the ball do the work, plays the ball up forward. It's a disappointing pass in the end though, and Thompson is a long way out of position now after trying to retrieve that ball. Chris Hatfield, the guilty party, giving it away. Here's Costa Passaros, bearing down on Tommy Jarrett. Goes past Tommy Jarrett, inside towards Lucas. Not quite sure how much of a touch Luke Borean got, but it was certainly enough to put off Chris Lucas, the former Palm Beach Shark and Bentley Greens player. Shepherd inside, that's a really good block by Waters. End-to-end stuff so far in this National Premier League's Queensland clash, and as we listen just about to the ground announcer here at Lions Stadium in Richlands, some poor supporter is about to be towed. Hopefully it's not one of the players. We have had that situation happen on more than one occasion. Remember, it happened to Dulwich Hamlet in the English National Leagues as well. Goalkeeper had to tell one of his mates to go and move his car after he'd either left the keys, left the lights on, or parked illegally. Andy Thompson's come over to take this corner kick. None of the players seem unduly concerned. Decent corner towards the back post. It's flapped at somewhat by Brandon Kumineo. It'll be at the cost of another corner, and this time it'll be Nathan Shepherd who trots over to take it from that far side of the field. He'll be looking to swing this one in left-footed. These two sides met 4 times in all competitions last season. Olympic got the better of the exchanges in the first game. 1-0 the score. Jez Lofthouse the goal scorer as Madley gets another header. It's taken just off his head, I think. It'll be another corner over on that far side. It certainly is another corner. There seems to be some confusion amongst the players there, but a good header from Merritt Madley, and he has been electric so far. Causing a threat in every instance. He's at the back post again. He's being shadowed loosely by James Kumineo. He's at the near post this time. It'll be another corner for Olympic from that far side. 3 in a row. Third time lucky perhaps for the team in orange, the hosts here, who do lead by a goal to 0. Merritt Madley getting that opening goal, his 5th of the season. It was a well taken goal. Well, this one's angled in. He's headed clear of the near post by Glover. His opposite number, Thompson, does just enough to get the ball back to Danny Kim, plays no role in those corners, being of a more diminutive stature than some of his teammates. Hatfield does well towards the back post. It's going to go in again. It is in again. Lions have 2. Sean Carlos is the goal scorer. That's his 3rd goal of the season. And Olympic are starting to stare down the barrel here. Kazuya Ito is a little bit upset and is remonstrating with our Total Tools official in the middle, Matt Skinner, just asking perhaps whether or not the foot was up for that challenge on this near side of the field that has eventually resulted in that ball being played in. But I don't think that is the case. Matt Skinner's now having a bit of a conversation with Brandon Kumineo. Kristen Waters just trotting back to make sure that young Brandon is okay with whatever's being said. An electric start here for the hosts. They would have been stung by last week's defeat down at Gold Coast Knights. So they're wanting to make a bit of a statement here. Lest we forget, the last time Olympic made a statement or chose to make a statement in front of our cameras, it ended in a frightful hiding for Brisbane City. 7-0 the scoreline finished there, and I'm certainly not suggesting that'll be the case here, as a free kick is given over on that far side for a stray boot that was left in on Chris Hatfield, former South West Queensland Thunder player who made the switch down the range and the Darren Lockyer way in the off-season. Good acquisition for Lions as Chris Lucas goes in on Tommy Jarrod. Jarrod, rather flustered, plays that one out over on that far side now, and Lions will look to break, but it's comfortably dealt with by Adam Sawyer. A little bit of another loose pass. Sawyer looking to try and mop up, and in the end, Sean Carlos gives away a free kick. Ito assessing his options. He has 5 men ahead of him. Instead, he chooses to go laterally to Waters. Waters now goes back to his centre-back partner, Jack Glover. Kumineo forward, something for Nazari to chase. He's never going to get there, Zelfi Nazari. He's quick, but he's not that quick. Had that ball been aimed towards Jez Lofthouse, on the other hand, we might be talking about a slightly different story. Look at that challenge again. I don't think there was much in it, I have to say. And in the end, that's a really, really good header from Sean Carlos. I've just seen the replay on my monitor here. That's a really, really good header. He didn't have much room to work with, and I think Brandon Kumineo possibly should have done better. He did have to track all the way back across his goal to deal with that initial cross, but nevertheless, you don't like being beaten from that position as a goalkeeper. But Sean Carlos, with his second goal of the year, well, he's earned that. That was a fine, fine header, and he's done incredibly well. It's an aimless ball forward by Olympic. It'll be comfortably dealt with by Luke Berean. Carlos, who managed 11 goals last year, is a fairly regular goal scorer. Here he is again, trying to get on the end of this one and making a nuisance of himself with Kristen Waters. Waters does really well. Slightly heavy back heel. Just enough to control. Lofthouse is going to latch onto this one. Lucas had to be offside. He's not offside. Jez Lofthouse puts it the wrong side of the keeper. You'd have to say that justice was done there, because it did look initially like Chris Lucas was a mile offside in getting involved in that ball. Perhaps I didn't see over on this near side whether Matthias Simic was playing him on, but I didn't think he did. It wouldn't be the first time here at Lions Stadium we've had a goal scored due to a possible offside. It happened in the FFA Cup here, memorably, when Lions beat Olympic by 3-2 in the round of 16, an all-Queensland round of 16 clash, and it was in fact the winner that was scored by Carter Glockner. I believe we have the same assistant referee actually over on the far side this time. And I have been told, and I have actually seen the video as well, that shows he was absolutely right in his call. So there's still contention amongst Olympic supporters, and I'm sure they will be still fairly upset by that call, and it eventually did knock them out of the FFA Cup after such a promising run. Would have earned them a tie against A-League opposition, Adelaide United, who Lions played in the next round and ended up losing to, it has to be said. But they certainly didn't disgrace themselves, the National Premier League's finalists on a national level, as well as being the premiers and champions here in Queensland. Glover let that one pass, and then, much to his relief, it was on a rare occasion that Marek Madley wasn't chasing down. Olympic just aiming these balls forward, lumping them forward really. Kristen Waters the guilty party on that occasion, but there's not that much movement ahead of him, so he wasn't able to do much with it. Here's Danny Kim. What movement can Lions provide? Thompson is the man who provides it, and he finds himself in a bit of space. 2-on-1 against James Kumineo. But Thompson couldn't squeeze it past him to Chris Hatfield. Will be a Lions throw. Interestingly, during my research, 11 of 18 players used by Warren Moon this season have scored for Lions. 4 of them have multiple goals. Hatfield has 4, as does Madley, who now has 5, of course. Shepherd has 2, and Sean Carlos, who did have 2 coming into this one, now has 3. But plenty of single-goal scorers there. 7 of them from a used list of 18. And that does include the 2 goalkeepers as well, Jackson Riley and Luke Berean. Luke Berean, of course, not afraid of scoring. He did score from the penalty spot, I believe, on a couple of occasions. He missed from the penalty spot as well in a match out at Ipswich against Western Pride. Really fantastic game. It was one of the few occasions last season that Lions conceded more than 1 goal. It doesn't happen often. It's happened once already this season. Last year they conceded a goal every 212 minutes. Lions, they've kept 5 clean sheets so far this season. It's Lucas goes down to the byline and tries to cross, but has too much pace in his own run, I think, and plays the ball out on the full behind Luke Berean's goal. And Judd, the Lions media guru. Back there, is it? No, I don't think it is, actually. He's over to the left. Simic. Sloppy from Simic, that's a rarity. Oh, it's so close to be played in towards Costa Pizarros by Zelfi Nazari. Makwaze, neat turn inside to the 1-2 with Adam Soy. Makwaze racing down on the Olympic defence now. He's still Makwaze, forced to cut back inside by a really good tackle by Jean-Philippe Lasson. Plays the ball out to Shepherd. Great ball retention from Lions. That's a good ball over the top to Sawyer. Sawyer with a deep cross. I think Carlos was initially thinking of the first-time shot, thought better of it. Plays it out to Thompson. Thompson drifting that ball inside. It's helped up by Nazari and then helped on by Lasson, only as far as Jared, though. Jared tried to find Thompson, and it goes out for an Olympic throw in front of the Olympic bench, where Ben Khan is trying to encourage his team to play a little bit more up-tempo. They look a little flat, Olympic. It's not dissimilar to how they looked against Moreton Bay United last week, in a game that they really struggled to penetrate what was an admittedly packed Moreton Bay United defence. Free kick is given for a foul on Ito. He wants to take it quickly, doesn't have an option. Now he does. That's Jez Lofthouse. What can Lofthouse do? Lofthouse twisting and turning, doing those step overs, gets past 1, 2, 3. Couldn't get past the 4th, though. It's fallen for Lasson. Lasson just chips that one up towards Lofthouse. Mop of hair flowing in the breeze there as he jumped. It was a high boot, though, from Costa Pizarros, and Pizarros was pinged for it. That's Skinner, the referee. Skinner is actually just checking on Tommy Jarrett's welfare there. Concussion has to be said, not something that football does well in terms of its welfare, and that's possibly a contentious issue, and I'll probably get in trouble for saying it, but there have been so many instances of players getting knocked out, and it happened even in the international break a couple of weeks ago. Getting knocked out and then coming on and playing on to score the win and was heralded as a hero. But really, he should have been dealing with an HIA. It's an area that football has a lot of time to work on, but good credit for Chris Skinner there on checking on Tommy Jarrett's welfare. The 20-year-old is okay to continue. There's to Ito. Ito just catches Kim. Advantage being played. Hatfield rides one challenge. Challenge was sufficient, though, to hinder his progress from Jean-Philippe Lasson. And Be a Lions free kick, just inside their own half. Shepherd. Good control off the chest from the 27-year-old Scott from Paisley. Here he is with the ball at his feet once more. Delivers that ball in towards. Oh, that's off the top of a crossbar. Follow up, is it, from Hatfield? Marek Madley was ever so close then, just the width of a crossbar from giving Lions a 3-goal lead. What a fantastic header from Marek Madley. Well, speaking to both him and Warren Moon before the game, and Madley joked that he only has one job, and that is to score goals, and that he needs to score more. And Warren Moon gave a knowing look and a knowing smile and said, well, yeah, you do. Had such a fantastic season last year. I think it was 50 goals in all competitions across the National Premier League, Queensland and Football Queensland Premier League for Marek Madley. The Holland Park Hawk. At the start of the season, at least, he went to Lions and went at better than a goal a game in for both competitions. There's 41 goals last season, not quite 50. Not far off. Lots of space for Shepherd. Lets the ball bounce. Up against Dias. Dias doesn't do enough to stop the ball from getting to the feet of Makwaza. Makwaza lays it off for Shepherd, who's dispossessed by Lassen. Lassen releases Pissarros. Now lovely control from Pissarros. He'll need support. Lofthouse needs to get his skates on. Lucas is the man in the middle. It's played in towards Lucas. Luke Berean, well watched, but it was well covered back as well by the ever-present Lions captain, Matthias Simic. Now up the other end, here's Madley. Madley might get onto the end of this. He's bundled to the ground by Waters. Shoulder to shoulder, good defending from Kristen Waters, you have to say. Madley picks himself up. He's been good. Now we're back up the other end. Thompson couldn't make the interception. Here's Pissarros. Pissarros can't quite get the better of Tommy Jarrett though, and then there's a little bit of push and shove afterwards. Skinner's not having any semblance of a conversation from Danny Kim. He just wants to talk to the protagonists in this one, and the principal protagonist was a little flick by Costa Pissarros. He's the one who's getting a talking to. And that will be that. Sean Carlos arguing the point. It's a one-way argument, as they always seem to be with our Total Tools referees. Luke Berean has been instructed to take a goal kick. And again, good refereeing from Mr. Skinner. Thompson. On to Hatfield. Hatfield was upset with the challenge, but it might be James Kumanea who's come off second best. Picks himself up to his feet now. Possibly a good and opportune moment to remind you that the IFCA is coming. It's the only national football-specific coaching conference in Australia on the 25th and 26th of May on the Gold Coast. You can still get your delegate pass at ifcca.com.au right now. Of course, you could also go to footballqueensland.com.au, which will give you all the information of guests, which do include amongst them Socceroos coach Graham Arnold. Good goalkeeping just then from James Kumanea, but he's going to have to be on his toes again, as that's delightful ball by Simic. That is a cracker of a delivery over towards that far side, and Hatfield goes past one, goes past another. He's capable of the magnificent, is Chris Hatfield. He showed that up on the range last year for South West Queensland Thunder. He couldn't quite get that ball on target, wrapped his foot around it just a little bit too much. But again, just showing what a threat he can be. He's got 4 goals so far this season. He was close to making it a 5th. Olympic looking rather shaky at the back. Dangerous going forward for us. Zelfi Nazari is hoping to prove. He wins a throw-in. James Kuminao appears to have shaken off that earlier knock. Plays the ball inside to Lassen. Lassen needs an option, an outlet ball. He finds it in Dias. Dias has a lot of space to work with. He's going to use to cut inside. Chits the ball over towards Chris Lucas. That's a really good save by Borean. A fine stop from the Lions keeper. He had to be alert and raced off his line. Now Dias does brilliantly well. Oh, that's sensational from Dias. He wins a corner for his side, but that was all Shelford Dias. He was quick to get himself into position and then used his strength brilliantly to win a corner, and all of a sudden, having been on the back foot, Olympic have a chance here to reduce the deficit from the set piece. It's Lions 2, Olympic 0. A goal to Marek Madley early on, and then a fine header from Sean Carlos. The difference between the two sides here. No game between the two last year, and there were 4 of them, was decided by more than 1 goal. Not quite reading from the same hymn sheet on that occasion, as the ball is played into the space immediately vacated by Jez Lofthouse. Lions will clear, and they'll have a throw-in on this near side, which will be taken by Shepherd. Sawyer, Shepherd. Shepherd wears a little bit of a challenge from Ito. Now Sawyer wears a little bit of a challenge from Lazam. Carlos tries to play that one through. Doesn't quite get there. Sawyer was the intended target. Simic does brilliantly. Simic wins a free kick as well from Lucas. That's really intelligent play from Matthias Simic. He did brilliantly to slide and maintain possession. In fact, caught it between his foot and his calf. But he's out of position now, and had that ball been better directed towards Chris Lucas, Lions could have been in trouble. Simic gives away what is probably a sensible free kick. Had it been blown, that's one that I think Matt Skinner has missed. Really barged into Kazuya Ito there. Did Matthias Simic, and I thought that was perhaps an opportunity that he was taking to reset his back line. He's just feeling that right calf, Matthias Simic. That's perhaps what he wanted the little breather for. Fortunately, or perhaps unfortunately, he didn't win the free kick. Here's an opportunity now once again for Hatfield. It's still there. Brilliant save by Kuminao. He's managed to gather it as well. It took a deflection on its way through. End-to-end stuff here at Lions Stadium in Richlands. National Premier League's Queensland action here. Simon Smale bringing it all to you thanks to Football Queensland on footballqueensland.com.au. Every single game of the National Premier League's Queensland live streamed, as well as selected matches from the Football Queensland Premier League and the Women's National Premier League's Queensland. As Simic, who was feeling his right calf just a little bit moments before, plays a 1-2 with Luke Berean, and Berean, who is often a player who flirts with danger, invited Chris Lucas into his personal space. Still got rid of the ball effectively though. Unfortunately, Nathan Shepherd didn't read the invitation and gave the ball away. Here's an opportunity for Lofthouse. Lofthouse gets one back for Olympic. It came from that loose pass by Nathan Shepherd. It was played into Chris Lucas, not its intended target by far. He found Lofthouse. Lofthouse needed no invitation. It's Lions 2, Olympic 1. Jez Lofthouse. He scored 2 goals against Lions last season. One in round 3 of the National Premier League's Queensland, once in the round of 32 FFA Cup clash. But we have a game on our hands once again here at Lions Stadium. It's just the single goal now separating these two fierce rivals. Thompson does well to win that one. The Olympic bench are unhappy with it, but looked like Thompson was in control from this angle. Here he is on the ball again, although picked off by Kazuya Ito. Is it over on that far side? No, it's not. It's Zelfi Nazari. Nazari, who has gone down. A few tackles flying in now. It's not Nazari who's down. It's James Kuminao once again, and this will be a concern for Olympic. Nazari was on the deck. He's been picked up and helped to his feet by the goal scorer, Jez Lofthouse. but we are going to see a little bit of treatment being offered and pro-offered towards James Kumineo, and there'll be a bit of an opportunity to recap what's been going on here at Lions Stadium, round 10 of the National Premier League's Queensland. Marek Madley, the irrepressible goal scorer for Lions in 2018, and Holland Park Hawks, of course, but more pressingly in this competition for Lions. He got the opener as he got the winner in the encounter between the two sides, both in round 16 of the National Premier League's Queensland and the grand final in extra time. He got the opener to put Lions right on the front foot, and then Sean Carlos grabbed a second. A fine header from a very acute angle. I'll have to see a replay before I start criticising Brandon Kumineo too much, but it was a tight angle and it was a tough one for him to find the back of the net from, but he managed to do so. A lot of concern actually here from James Kumineo. We might actually be having a substitution for Olympic, and there are options. Steve White is on the bench, where he plays in a more attacking role. It is, in fact, a very attacking team squad list that Ben Kahn has brought here to Richlands and Lions. Lions, who did look very, very comfortable and were bossing proceedings, really. Eventually, then suffered a bit of a setback. A poor piece of play from Nathan Shepherd allowed Chris Lucas to gain possession, and Jez Lofthouse needed no second invitation. He managed to latch onto a through ball and calmly pass it past Luke Borean, who will not be adding to his clean sheet tally in 2019. He managed 17 last year from just 26 appearances. Phenomenal record for 28-year-old. Of course, in part due to the phenomenal defensive line in front of him. There's a lengthy delay here for James Kumineo to receive treatment. Opportunity perhaps to remind you that the Football Foundation Queensland has been established to make football in Queensland as inclusive and accessible as possible, providing opportunities, creating community connections and supporting the growth of football participation all across the state. Encourage all Queenslanders who care about our game to consider making a donation to the Football Foundation Queensland to help the development of football in this state. You'll be able to find details of that at footballqueensland.com.au. You'll be able to, of course, find all the football news and live streams for the 2019 season at the same place, and you can find them via social media as well, at FootballQLD on Instagram and Twitter. Just search for Football Queensland on Facebook. Kazuya Ito is asking the question of our Total Tools official Matt Skinner as to why there hasn't been any cards shown for that challenge on James Kumineo. He's definitely come off second best. He's trying to run it off now in front of the Olympic bench. Olympic in the blue, who trail Lions by 2-1. They did trail by 2-0 earlier in the half, as that ball's given away poorly by Glover to Carlos. Fortunately for Olympic, it's not to the detriment of their position in this game. Carlos is really making a nuisance of himself, winning the ball there off Jez Lofthouse, who tried just one trick too many in such a confined space. Shepherd goes back to Simic. He appears to have shrugged off that right calf injury that was hampering him somewhat a few moments ago. Lazen. Only as far as Jared. Jared to Shepherd, who had to be alert and played a hurried pass straight up to the feet of Lassen. Waters. Again, not quite on the same page as Kazuya Ito. Lions gain the turnover. Simic is going to be challenged, plays the short ball. It's a poor one in the end. Now he's out of position. Lions are vulnerable in these situations as Olympic look to pounce. Here's Psaros. Psaros is going to have a snapshot. It's blocked at source by Danny Kim. Still there for Jean-Philippe Lassam. Psaros again the intended target. He's crowded out of it by a good tackle from Shepherd from behind. Picks up possession though under pressure from Makwaze. Waters goes all the way back to square one. And Brandon Kumineo. Glover So a couple of wayward passes in a row from the centre-back. He tried to find Jez Lofthouse, who contorted himself into all sorts of extravagant positions to try and get something on that ball and stop it from going out over on that far side in front of a grandstand of a clubhouse here at Lions, the recently refurbished clubhouse. If you haven't been down here and are in the area, well worth a visit one day. Gets on position on the ball now and plays in Passaras. Passaras can't play in Ito though, and Lions will look to attack through Makwaze and Shepherd. Shepherd gives the ball away though to Waters, and Waters breathes the rarefied air of the attacking third for Olympic. He finds his opposite number, Matthias Simic, and Simic, very uncharacteristically, just hammers that one out into the practice field behind us. Good game this so far, just 4 minutes or so remaining before the half-time break. Of course, Lions will be the happier, but it won't be such a despondent team talk from Olympic after Jez Lofthouse got that goal back just a few moments ago. Zari gets past one challenge, comes up against Shepherd, goes down. It is a free kick. Looked to be too much in it, but there was certainly enough from Nathan Shepherd. Scott gives away a free kick in what is a very dangerous position. An opportunity now for Olympic, who are attacking the goal behind which their fans have congregated. Kazuya Ito, the number 8, who was named in Team of the Week for Football Queensland last week, delivers this ball into the box. Brian gathers. There's so much tall timber in that box. He drop punts this one and wheels away in disgust because it went nowhere near its intended target of Jason Makwaze. Mopped up well at the back by James Kumineo, who is clearly struggling with that leg injury. Kim and Ito do battle. Really good from Kim. Makwaze was offside. That's poor from Makwaze. He had so much time to look across the line and get himself offside. But great awareness from the Olympic defence to spot that and know that he is a bit of an offside magnet. Olympic switch play over to the far side, and Lofthouse has nowhere to go. And Sher chooses to come back in on himself. Lazam, Ito, back to Waters. Lazam gets it back to Ito. All the advanced passing lanes blocked except that one. Matthias Simic manages to block off at the last moment. Passaras, the intended target. Lazam nods his head down for that one. And that's exactly what Skinner says. He bent his head down to claim that one. You can understand the consternation from the Olympic players. They are upset about that, and Lassam did cop one, a nasty one, I think, on the head, but he did bend his head down to win the ball. I think it's probably still kicking in a dangerous position with a raised boot, but referees are there to make those decisions and those 50-50 calls. He certainly had to stop play. Head injuries, I've already had my little rant about, need to be taken more seriously in football, and Nazam is taking his time. Usually a Lions free kick, I'm not entirely sure how it can be a free kick. I mean, since Lazam actually went in and managed to use a foul with his head. I'll have to see it again before I make too many judgments. The explanation is forthcoming from Matt Skinner, our Total Tools referee, wearing the black armband, if you missed it earlier, for Dieter Close, the well-known and well-respected Football Brisbane referee coach and mentor. Costa Passaras does brilliantly. Sorry, it's Jez Lofthouse who does brilliantly to get past Thompson, but Thompson was tenacious and kept with his man. And now Lions will attack through Sawyer. Sawyer has so much space on the left, enough to pick a target. The target he picks, well, it was intended for Carlos, but it never got there. It was a good block in the end by Lassam, who limps a little as he gets up from that challenge from Makwaze. Here's Lofthouse on the right-hand side now, up against Shepherd. Lovely work from Lofthouse. He gets past one, but can't get that ball or slide that ball past Matthias Simic, who did slip in the build-up to that play, and doesn't look to be moving quite as well as he might, the Lions centre-back. That'll be a concern for Warren Moon. Lovely football. Here's Dias, has space. Back to Lucas. He's lethal in any position. The former Bentley Green and Palm Beach Shark. He's looking for his 10th goal of the season already. Just fired that one over the crossbar. No doubt Luke Marion is receiving plenty of descriptions as to just how close that was to creeping underneath his crossbar. Well, Luke Marion may be the least flappable person I've ever met in my life, so quite what the fans hope to achieve. By that, it's well known. Once he puts that headgear on, which he wears, rain, hail, or indeed in Queensland, shine. It's his lucky hat, and lucky beanie, and he'll keep it. Here's Costa Basaras. He might need to be lucky here. It's an awkward one for Simic to deal with, but he dealt with it well in the end. It's going to come straight back though. Olympic really growing into this half as half-time approaches. Basaros is cut down by Hatfield. Right in front of the Lions bench. It was pointed out on social media on a couple of occasions that Jez Lofthouse gets plenty of rough treatment from opposition players around the league, and when you're a player as tricky as he is, I think sadly that's your lot, really. You do get those problems, you do get taken late, you do get those little niggles because you're such a tricky player to deal with. You can't let it discourage him. Instead, back his talent. Here he is on the ball now. Goes past one, goes past two. The shot's fired in. I think it was Danny Kim who got a touch in the end. If not, it was his own teammate, Chris Lucas. Free kick might have been given against Jez Lofthouse, but instead it is half-time, and that has been a really entertaining half of football between Lions and Olympic here at Lions Stadium in Richlands. Lions lead it by 2-1, but Olympic were really growing into that game as it progressed, and you have to say that the longer that half was going on, the more it looked like Olympic were going to get themselves back into it. We'll bring you a couple of results from around the grounds. Gold Coast United have beaten Western Pride by 3-1, and Peninsula Power, they beat South West Queensland Thunder by the same score in the early kickoffs. Moreton Bay United, well, they're about to beat Magpies Crusaders by 3-1 as well up there at Water Park. That game will be finishing imminently, and in fact, no, it is still going on, but it will be imminent that game concludes. Brisbane City, they're trailing Brisbane Raw Youth by 2-1. It was 2-1 at half-time. We're in the 63rd minute up at Spencer Park now. And down or over at Heath Park, Gold Coast Knights are continuing their fine vein of form. They lead Eastern Suburbs by 2-0. We're going to have a short break, as the players do. Don't go anywhere though, there's plenty more to come in the second half and the second 45 minutes here at Lions Stadium. Lions lead Olympic by 2-1. Don't go anywhere, we'll be back after.
Why do I play football?
Why do we play football? I play for fitness.
For competition.
Community spirit.
It's healthy and safe.
And fun.
I play for celebrations.
What's your reason? Join our team.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about.
Wait!
Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Sitting in the crowd smoking big cigars. I hope you're ready for what's coming now. I'm the one on the let it go, bring it down. this place. That'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this smoking big cigars. I hope you're ready for what's coming now. I'm the one on the lady that will bring you down. There's a joint on the corner where the big boys play, where the whiskey's running like the rivers, but they all never come for the booze and bass. I'm the one on the lady that'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this place. Hit it.
When did sharing food photos become more important than sharing a plate with someone you care about? It's time to put down the phones, pick up a menu, and reconnect at the coffee club. With excellent coffee every time, a choice of meals to suit everyone, and surroundings that make it easy to share a moment. Because at the coffee club, meeting up means more. Where will I meet you?
Football is currently the fastest growing sport in the world for women. With Australia's success on the international stage and Olympic success in developing players for the national stage, the Girls FC program is designed for every player, whether they want to be a Matilda or whether they just want to play for fun. Girls FC is a 16-week program for girls aged 5 to 12. It's a fun and safe environment where girls can make friends and learn the 4 core skills of football. Anyone interested can email community@olympicfc.net.au. I hope to see you here.
You feel like a brontosaurus.
New Mazda 2. Join the 2 tribe.
We swear a lot at Total Tools. We swear by our range. We swear by our service. And of course, we swear by our prices. So you'll know that you're buying at the best price every day. Total Tools. Every tool, every trade.
Hi, my name is Asma and I'm from Somalia. Football Queensland has inspired me to continue playing football. Welcome to the
Lies will melt away into yesterday. And we will live on try.
We can land on top, so I thought I'll just pick it up and have a bit of fun.
Given this grand final, which is minute. What a drama that would be. It's an opportunity for White. Break into the penalty area. 1-0 Olympic. The supporters now.
Why do I play football?
Why do we play football? I play for fitness.
For competition.
Community spirit.
It's healthy and safe.
And fun.
I play for celebrations.
What's your reason? Join our team.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about.
Wait!
Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Sitting in the crowd smoking big cigars. I hope you're ready for what's coming now. I'm the one, I'm the lady that will bring you down. There's a joint on the corner where the big boys play, where the whiskey's running like the river, but they all never come for the booze and bass. I'm the one, I'm the lady that'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this sitting in the crowd smoking big cigars. I hope you're ready for what's coming now. I'm the one, I'm the lady that will bring you down. There's a joint on the corner where the big boys play, where the whiskey's running like the river, but they all never come for the booze and bass. I'm the one, I'm the lady that'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this place.
Hit it!
We swear a lot at Total Tools. We swear by our range. We swear by our service. And of course, we swear by our prices. So you'll know that you're buying at the best price every day. Total Tools. Every tool, every trade.
Hi, my name is Asma and I'm from Somalia. Football for me there has inspired me to continue playing football. Welcome to the
Lies will melt away into yesterday. And we will live on try.
We can land on top, but I'll just pick it up and have a bit of fun.
For them to be given this grand final, which is what a drama that would be. Opportunity for White, right into the penalty area. 1-0 in front of the supporters now.
Ankles.
Welcome back to Lions Stadium here at Richlands, where it is the hosts and reigning premiers and champions Lions who lead Olympic, the team they conquered in the grand final last year and beat to the National Premier League's Queensland Premiership title by 2-1. A goal from the irrepressible Marek Madley opened the scoring before Sean Carlos doubled that lead with a fine header, but Olympic can't be kept down for long, and with an attack as glittering as theirs, they're almost certain to get on the score sheet, and they did. Jez Lofthouse reducing the deficit shortly before half-time. It's been a good game, this one, in the National Premier League's Queensland. Round 10 between the sides sitting in third spot and fourth. We do just have enough time before our Total Tools officials return to the field to give you a little bit of an update as to some of the results from around the grounds. Gold Coast United beat Western Pride by 3-1 down at Coplicks, and Peninsula Power, they were victorious by the same scoreline up in Redcliffe over South West Queensland Thunder. 3-1 being a bit of a theme in the early games. Up at Walter Park, well, it was 3-1 there as well. Moreton Bay United beating Magpies Crusaders by 3-1, having led 3-0 at the break. Half-time elsewhere in the state, Brisbane City trailing... Sorry, the half-time score at Heath Park for East. They are trailing Gold Coast Knights by 2-0. Of course, half-time here at Richlands. The Lions leading Olympic by 2-1. And in just about 12 minutes remaining at Spencer Park in Newmarket, Brisbane City trailing Brisbane Royal Youth by 2-1 as the hosts, Lions, in the orange shirts, get things started, kicking from left to right, and the ball immediately ends up in the hands of the Olympic goalkeeper, Brandon Kumineo. Been beaten twice so far is Lofthouse, who scored the reply for the visitors. Olympic in their reverse kit today, dark blue as opposed to the red and white. Here's some neat interplay between Madley and Carlos. Madley's going to pick the ball up off the deflection. He plays the ball back to Shepherd. Shepherd will play in Madley again. Madley uses his body brilliantly and lets the ball do the work. Madley goes to deck after playing the ball inside in the vague direction of Makwaze. It was vague, and vague sometimes isn't quite good enough to make the difference in the National Premier League's Queensland. Olympic will clear, and they're able to do so with Lazam now, who finds Lofthouse on this near side. Lofthouse has acres of space in front of him, just occupied by Andy Thompson. He breezes past him with no dramas at all. Lofthouse tries to do the remarkable... He's done it before, so we shouldn't be surprised he couldn't find the top corner on this occasion. Bright start to the second half. That's exactly what we want. Simon Smale on the microphone for you today on behalf of Football Queensland. Thank you very much for joining us wherever you are watching, and we hope that you enjoy the live call. Every single game of the National Premier League's Queensland is live streamed this year by Football Queensland, with the game of the week being commentated upon, and that is certainly the case with the National Premier League's women's competition as well, the game of the week. As Darren Lutton brought you earlier today, a 9-0 victory for Lions, against South United, and what was expected to be quite a close game. And we also bring you a match from the Football Queensland Premier League, which is the second tier at a state level here in Queensland. Dias will hope that ball goes out. It doesn't, so he's forced to play it, but fortunately for him, all of his opponents had given up the ghost, and he was able to play the ball forward. It's helped out, though, on the full by Lassam over on that far side, and now it'll be up to Nathan Shepherd to get things back underway from the right-back position, from the left-back position, apologies. Plenty of supporters in the stands. Almost all of them are wearing red and white. Olympic being very well supported in these situations. So free kick goes in favour of the visitors. Dias wanted to take it quickly. He thinks better of it in the end and leaves it for Kristen Waters, and Waters will look for an option. There's no movement ahead of him. Eventually Nazari comes short, and He goes all the way back to Kumineo. Took a touch off Thompson. It'll be Olympics ball. James Kumineo, who had lengthy treatment on an ankle injury in that first half, has come out for the second and looks to be okay. Matthias Simic also was a little bit sore after the first half as Lofthouse goes past one. That's a decent shot. Oh, what a save by Berean. Oh, that was destined for the top corner. We could see it perfectly from our camera position. Chris Lucas sent that one sailing, fading away from Luke Berean, but the flamboyant Lions keeper did everything possible and used every single inch of his body to get across there, and that was a fantastic save to preserve the scoreline at 2-1 in favour of Lions. He's going to be able to be alert here as well, though, as Matthias Simic heads that ball away. He has another bite of the cherry, Simic. Lions do eventually conspire to clear through Chris Hatfield, but it's only as far as Lassam. He plays that ball back forwards again towards Costa Pizarros. It's out for a Lions throw, but that save from Luke Berean. There's a reason the 28-year-old only managed to keep 17 clean sheets last year. You're seeing one of those reasons there. Another one of those reasons, of course, is the quality of the defenders in front of him. That's Matthias Simic, one of the key proponents of that defensive line. Just ties his shoelaces and is allowed for time to do that. Luke Berean, he only conceded 11 goals last season in 26 matches. When you have a keeper of that quality, it certainly helps. Defences win matches. Marek Madley showing a little bit of frustration. He opened the scoring there, but his pass couldn't be picked up. Here's Pizarros. Pizarros gives one for Lucas to chase. Berean is out and smothers. There were two Lions players in attendance, Andy Thompson and Tommy Jarrett. The identity of those two. Berean launches that ball long, but that was really poor. It's worked out for Lions, though, with Carlos. And then I'm not quite sure what Carlos was intending there. Perhaps suggesting to Luke Berean that that's where it should have ended up in the first place, but it would have been rather aimless because it ended up in the hands of Brandon Kumineo, who launches it forward. Here's Lucas in a very, very defensive position, picking up that ball in the midfield. He plays it back to Kumineo, and Kumineo is made to work. It's an Olympic ball, but they will be pegged in here. Good work and good chasing from Chris Hatfield to put James Kumineo under that pressure, and no favours will be coming from the former Southwest Queensland Thunder player. Kumineo with throw. Lucas moves ahead of him. It's Lucas who leaps to get that ball on his head. It's Glover who headed it back. Neat footwork from Sawyer, but he's crowded out of it by Lofthouse and Lassam. Jarrett with the header. Lucas to Pizarros. Pizarros wide to Dias. Dias has space ahead of him. When he's got his foot on the ball, he can be a devastating player going forward. For Dias, we saw that in the game down at Koplex. Lucas Pizarros! It's only a matter of inches. And after that bright start, it appears Ben Khan is not overly impressed with what he's seen, or not impressed enough. We're going to see a double substitution. Amongst those, Joel Scholl, key player for East last year. Philippe Lassam and Costa Pizarros are the two who've made way. Joel Scholl and Steve White are the two players who have come onto the field. What a bench to utilise, and what a fantastic introduction those two players are likely to have on this game. Ben Khan has attacking options to spare over at Goodwin Park this season, especially with the acquisition of Lucas and Scholl. Moon has a fair few weapons up his sleeve as well, one of them being Jason Makwaze, who has returned to the club after missing the first couple of games of the season. Here he is on the ball now. He's crowded out of it rather by Dias, but shows a good composure to get past. Dias does excellently well to win the ball back, but it's at the expense of a corner, and Lions have been dangerous from these set pieces so far, a fact that won't have escaped the attention of Ben Calm in that first half. Andy Thompson, he's been a key protagonist in getting those balls into those dangerous areas and onto the head of Marek Madley, who is being shadowed incredibly closely by Jack Glover. So close to each other they could share a pair of shorts almost. Madley tries to get away and does manage to get away. It's aimed towards him, but it's well gathered by Brandon Kumineo. Really well gathered. He races to the edge of his penalty area, doesn't have an option ahead of him, but Chris Lucas was asking for it. He gets it in that direction belatedly, but Andy Thompson had so much time and space that he took it on his chest, but took too much time over it, and almost leapt three for Zelfi Nazari over on that far side. Nathan Shepherd would have had his heart in his mouth. He was able to keep his composure and allow the ball out for a throw-in, but he himself will take Makwaze back to Shepherd. Makwaze again. Shepherd and Makwaze just playing in amongst themselves. Makwaze goes down. White expresses his disappointment. It's just his third appearance of the season. He came off the bench last week against Moreton Bay United and was also involved in that round 3 clash against Western Pride. Ball is swept in towards Madley. He's dangerous when he gets his head on the ball in those penalty area and penalty spot areas. Sorry. Couldn't quite get that one underneath the crossbar. He hit the crossbar, of course, in that first half. The first half in which he scored the opening goal, followed up by Sean Carlos's strike. Also with his head, Jez Lofthouse reducing the deficit before half-time. Steve White's first meaningful intervention was to get the ball before it found its way to the foot of Chris Hatfield. Plays it out for a throw-in, which will be taken on this near side just beneath us here in our elevated commentary position by Andy Thompson. Madley went down. I think he's protesting that he might have got a bit of a push, but nothing doing, says the referee. Nazari gets his skates on. But Lions will clear, only as far as Ito though. Ito back inside to Lofthouse. Lofthouse is dangerous. Lofthouse is going to get his skates on, gets round the side of the defence. Thompson shadowed him and watched him like a hawk. He gives away a corner though. Jez Lofthouse has been turning the corner pretty well on the edge of that Lions defence. Poses all sorts of problems when he does so. Madley just gets a tap on the shoulder from our Total Tools referee Matt Skinner, just to explain why he hadn't earned a free kick, and it might have been perhaps because he went to ground a little bit easily. Ito drifts this one in towards the near post. Dias threw himself at it, but without any real expectation of directing it goalwards, hoping instead to get it back to Kazuya Ito, which by fair means or foul he has managed. Ito with the throw. It's back with Kumineo. White. Nazari. Inside to Scholl. That's his first touch of the game. Ito. White. Ito again. Wide to Nazari. Nazari, lovely touch from Zelfi Nazari. He races towards the edge of the penalty area. Danny Kim's there though and just needed to stand his ground and get his foot in the way. Great football from Olympic though, but they cough up possession now. Shepherd, the player who got his foot involved and interrupted Olympic's passing flow. Makwaze over on that far side goes down, no foul. Olympic play on. Scholl looks for an option, has Dias on the outside, has Lucas inside. Now White, wide to Lofthouse. If Lofthouse gets past Thompson, there could be trouble for Olympic here. He doesn't, but wins the ball back. Excellent work from Jez Lofthouse and Andy Thompson. Two players who are at the top of their game. Madley comes from nowhere and steals the ball off Kazuya Ito from the blind side. Now Chris Hatfield will play the ball forward towards Madley. Madley is intercepted though by Glover. Excellent football from both sides there in the attacking third, but also matched by the level of the defence. Glover doing everything he was asked of there to get the ball away from the dangerous player that is Marek Madley. Jarrett. Simic. First one way, then the second towards Makwaze. Makwaze was offside. That's, again, really, really poor from the Lions striker. Should be looking across the line in those situations. The Lions substitutes are upset about that call, I think, or perhaps where the call was going to be ball was going to be taken from, but Ben Khan has shuffled his pack once more, and with the last roll of the dice will take off Shelford Dias, and what a player to bring on. Alex Smith, he's been playing deeper this season, but it hasn't stopped him providing the remarkable on occasions, and that was certainly what he provided when Olympic needed a goal most last weekend against Moreton Bay United. A sublime chip. It was really out of the top drawer from the former Wellington Phoenix player. Lofthouse. Lucas back inside. Scholl was there, so was Simic, more importantly from a Lions perspective. He gives the ball straight back to Chris Lucas though. Lucas looks to Smith. Smith has White on the outside. White gets it. Smith lets it run to Lofthouse. Lofthouse is being closed down by Simic, who's out of position. Lofthouse chips the ball inside towards Lucas. It's headed away by Thompson. He's been good tonight, has Andy Thompson. And now here's Hatfield. Hatfield cuts inside, skips past a couple of challenges. He's rushed though by that late challenge from White. Ito rides one challenge. Olympic still have possession. Ito intercepted that ball inadvertently when it was intended for Kumineo, but Olympic do maintain possession. Smith, the substitute, out to Nazari. Nazari will look to play it inside to White. White has options ahead of him. One of those options was Lucas, and unfortunately for Olympic, it was Tommy Jarrett who got his foot in the way of that one. But Lions can't keep their foot on the ball at the moment. Here they come again, the wave of dark blue shirts. Lofthouse has Smith ahead of him, uses Smith. Lofthouse gets his skates on down the left. He'll receive that ball from Ito. He'll be challenged by Thompson. Thompson does well just to close him down. Thompson just caught Jez Lofthouse's feet there, and that's what our Total Tools referee saw. It'll be a free kick, and what a dangerous position this is. Alex Smith, wearing the number 10 shirt, coming off the bench. What a luxury for Ben Khan to have. Looked like he was going to take it initially, but he walks away. All the while, Andy Thompson is having it explained to him that he can't tap the legs of Jez Lofthouse when he runs past him. Lofthouse, who is on his haunches at the moment, perhaps hoping to spring an attack from this free kick. Ito delivers it in towards the middle. It's dangerous. It's in at the back post, is it? It's stopped on the line. Now, who was that? I think it was Chris Lucas who was arriving late. After the initial excitement, he doesn't seem too aggrieved that the flag didn't go up to signify a goal. It was a good save from Luke Barin, but Olympic ever so close to levelling things up. Here's Madley onside. He's challenged by Waters. Brilliant challenge from Kristen Waters. It needed to be timed with perfection, and that's exactly what Waters delivered. What a fantastic tackle. Otherwise, Madley was through on goal there. We've already seen how dangerous he can be.
Substitution for Lions number 8. Welcome back, Mitchell Moore. Replaces number 7, Adam Sawyer.
Sawyer is going off, a former Brisbane City junior and Brisbane Roar senior team player, just 20 years old still, the Victorian. He's replaced by Mitch Hoare, another former Brisbane City player, a player who has been absent through injury so far this season, a long-term injury. It's great to see him back, and you heard the ground announcer echoing that fact as well. Lucas helps that one on to Scholl. Scholl through on goal now. Scholl has Lucas on the outside, uses Lucas. Lucas is going to shoot. No, he plays in Scholl. Perhaps a shot would have been a better option. Ball never, in fact, got to his attacking teammate. And Lions will hurriedly clear this ball away. But that was lovely interplay between the number 9 for Olympic, Chris Lucas, and the substitute, number 15, UL Scholl. He was left out last week, Scholl, after suffering a slight knock against Gold Coast United. And we did want to keep our eyes on that Matthias Simic injury, and Matthias Simic has gone down now, and this will be of huge concern for Warren Moon. Lions conceded the only goal of the game at Gold Coast Knights last week, about 5 minutes after Matthias Simic left, and you could see the gap that Knights exploited but was left when Matthias Simic vacated the field. Josh Brindle South is an option on the bench for Olympic. For Lions, sorry. As is Nathan Reardon, and it is Reardon who scored against Olympic in the grand final last year. Contentious because Olympic fans will suggest that he probably should have been shown a red card instead of a yellow card for a foul on the edge of the penalty area earlier on in that game. It was a fine goal as Mitch Hoare does battle with Jez Lofthouse, two fine young talents doing battle head to head here. Reardon has slotted into the centre-back role alongside Tommy Jarrett. There'll be a concern, though, that injury to club captain Matthias Simic for Warren Moon. Lions do play Capalaba in the FFA Cup on Tuesday night here. It's a short turnaround. First foray into this year's FFA Cup for Olympic, a side that did reach the last 16 last year against Adelaide United, when they lost by a goal to nil at Perry Park, a game that they gave a good account of themselves. More pressing matters now, though, as Lofthouse races into the penalty area. Was not quite as well timed as he might have liked from Danny Kim, but he comes up with the ball, and Lions will break through Makwaze on this right-hand side now. Makwaze to Madley. Madley holding the ball up brilliantly. Madley gets past two challenges. Here's Mitch Hoare. Mitch Hoare plays in. Madley down the right. Hatfield's in the middle. The pass was wayward, though, from Madley, and it never got to Hatfield. Olympic will clear. Good opportunity and good work from Mitch Hoare and Marek Madley to win that possession. A 50-50 challenge. Danny Kim, cool as you like, gets the better of Chris Lucas there, who expresses his frustration in himself, just with a look to the heavens. Here's Hatfield now, the number 9 for Lions, getting in behind the defence again. Twice in quick succession. He's held up, though, brilliantly by Nazari, and Nazari is forced to play it out for a throw-in. Excellent football from Lions, and excellent defence again from Olympic. That defence wasn't quite there in the first half. It sure has found itself now. And we are locked at 0-0 in the second half. Lions taking a 2-1 lead into the half-time break, and that's how it stands at the moment. Three Lions players expressing their doubts over that decision. Add Marek Madley to that and makes it 4. However, Mr. Skinner was in prime position there, and he saw what he saw, and it was that Chris Hatfield got the final touch, and it'll be a goal kick taken quickly by Kumaneo. Scholl misses it, but falls to Lucas. Scholl has strapping on that left knee, as you can see. Smith to Lucas. Lofthouse is wide, never gets to him. Good positioning from Thompson. He had to be alert, and now he plays that ball forward towards Madley. Madley may have been offside. Flag doesn't go up, though. Waters heading the ball clear to Scholl. Scholl can't take it under his control first time around. Does so second time around. Lucas goes to deck. Thompson extends the hand of friendship. Perhaps that'll have to wait. Lucas is still down as Carlos swings that ball in towards Madley. Fantastic ball from Sean Carlos. Powerful header from Madley. Well watched and well saved by Brandon Kumaneo. Lucas has picked himself up. He's holding his left ear. Maybe he just got a stray arm from Andy Thompson in that encounter. White and Smith leave it from each other. White eventually takes possession. Kumineo. Where's one from Madley? Just looked like it was a clash of hands almost from Kumineo. Madley did go in a little late. It's a sore one for James Kumineo. Kumineo will take the free kick eventually. Launches that one towards tall figure of Scholl. Smith trying for spectacular. He has history in doing so. Couldn't get his foot on that ball and it just results in an air swing. White playing with fire in the form of Chris Hatfield. His blazing orange shirt and fiery temperament could be excused for that. The Lions do cough up the ball in the end anyway. Waters did well. Madley inside. It's still there for Mitch Hoare, is it? Just too heavy a touch, and Brandon Kumineo raced out to steal possession. Lovely work again from Madley. He's been exceptional tonight. But now it's defence where attention turns to the hosts as Smith gets the ball from Lucas. Smith inside. The ball just falls the wrong side of the post. Lovely run from Alex Smith, the former A-League striker. Just couldn't poke that ball home. Luke Berean maybe having a big sigh of relief there. Berean. Waters gets two bites at that, goes back the second time after winning the header initially. Kumineo. Picked off by Carlos. Carlos in towards Makwaze. Makwaze doesn't really hold up that ball all that well, and Olympic will launch the counter-attack. Here's Alex Smith. Smith wide to Scholl. Had to check his run, couldn't maintain possession. It's Lions throw over on that far side. Lions starting to take their time over these set pieces. We are in the 71st minute. Seen a fantastic game of football so far. Still scoreless in the second half. Lions leading Olympic by 2-1. Marek Madley with the opener. Sean Carlos grabbing a second for the hosts before Jez Lofthouse reduced the deficit with a fine strike after being played in by Chris Lucas. Yellow card for Kristen Waters. It was a clear shove from Waters. I'm not quite sure what he's so upset about. He gets himself back into position, which is wise because Lions have 3-4 players ready to capitalise on the quick one, but Kristen Waters did put a hand on his opponent, and whether or not he went down a little easy is beside the point. You just can't put your hands on an opponent like that in those situations when the ball's up in the air. He'll need to collect himself and regain his composure as he awaits the challenge that comes from Andy Thompson's free kick over on that far side. He'll swing it in right-footed. It's in towards Hatfield. It's still there. Makwaze was always off balance. Helped in that scenario by the attentions of Steve White, so couldn't get a shot away. Was that a hand there from James Kumineo? Ball is out. It's a Lions. No, it's an Olympic ball. Pressure Ralph releases once more. Scholl hooks that one over the head of Kim. And Jared hooks that one over the sideline for an Olympic throw. They crab their way up this near sideline. Lofthouse holds his hands aloft, asking for the ball. One ball ended up in the field behind us. Not quite sure where that one's gone now, but it has been requisitioned by the kids playing in the field to the right. On the goal to our right, apologies. Shaw, lovely footwork in a confined space. It's good work from Thompson though in the end. Lions now working their way up the field along this sideline. Minutes or so remaining. Lions leading Olympic by 2-1. Ito with the header. White takes up possession. Ito on it again. Flamboyant back heel from the captain of the night, Kazuya Ito. Alex Smith has been wearing the armband in the matches that we've seen for Olympic in front of the cameras. 3 weeks in a row now for Olympic. Fascinating to see how the team has developed and playing against teams of vastly different styles. Lions go back to go forwards as Borean takes up possession. He'll look to switch play and aim this ball towards Madley. It's going to be cut out before it gets there though by James Kumineo. Kim latches onto Kumineo's header and plays it out for a throw. Kumineo will take. Lofthouse, heavy touch, and it's cut out by Mitch Hoare. Hoare using his strength. Carlos goes down, no foul. Ito gains possession though. It's aimed towards Lucas. Strong header from Reardon. Well, Mitch Hoare plays it back and it's fallen at the feet of Lucas. Lucas against Reardon. Lucas does well to get past Reardon, goes to deck, then trips up Reardon. A little bit of a tangle between the pair. We'll keep our eye on that one because that battle will rage for the next quarter of an hour or so. And you bet that Chris Lucas will feel that he can get under Nathan Reardon's skin. Definitely one to watch. Lucas lining up on Reardon and Scholl lining up on Jared. Ito back to Glover. Glover with the composed pass to Kumineo. Kumineo forward towards Scholl. It's dealt with though by his shadow, Jared. Scholl closes down Berean, who puts that one onto the head of Waters. Olympic will come again. White goes down, got the ball with a really good tackle though, did Sean Carlos. Here's Mitch Hoare, plays that ball forward. Madley may have been offside, the flag doesn't go up. Well judged in the end by Jared. He heads that ball out though. It'll be an Olympic throw-in. Just a reminder that the IFCA Football Coaching Conference is coming. Check the footballqueensland.com.au website for all details of that coaching conference, in which several high-profile guests, including Socceroos coach Graham Arnold, will be on hand to present and answer your questions. Fantastic opportunity down on the Gold Coast. 25th, 26th of May is when that is taking place. You can get your tickets and all the information from footballqueensland.com.au. as Makwaze is pinged for a handball. He flicks the ball away. Could have been a card. That's what referee Matt Skinner said as well. As Lofthouse gets possession. Smith finds some space and gets his angles all wrong and plays that one over the bar. Would have been a good point if we were playing Gaelic, but we're not. Just got that ability, Alex Smith, to create space out of nothing. It was a lovely ball inside by Jez Lofthouse. Just the touch and laying the ball out into the advantage of his right foot, Alex Smith. He's been doing it ever since he moved to Olympic, and before that, of course, also a variety of clubs, which include Sydney Olympic and even the Sunshine Coast at the start of the 2018 season. But that was a short-lived foray. It's lasted a lot longer here at the Yeronga-based club. Lucas closed down Borean, who waited for the ball calmly and patiently for it to land in his hands. He drop punts this one high into the Olympic half. It's headed straight up in the air by Glover. He has another bite at the cherry though. Lions maintain possession. Makwaze Hoare wide to Hatfield. It was a really good stop by Nazari, and vital, important stop by Nazari. Just stuck his foot out and hoped, really. Hoare to the advantage of Thompson. Clever from Kumineo. Lofthouse. Forward to Lucas. Lucas inside to Smith, but it's cut out by Kim. Jared goes back to Berean. Berean under pressure outside of his area. He goes down. Scholl has an open goal to score in. He can't get it past Danny Kim, though. Excellent defence. Luke Berean's casualness rather getting him in a spot of bother there. I don't think he quite realised that there were 3 dark blue shirts there waiting to ambush him as he vacated his area in safety. And it's very fortunate for Lions that they were able to win a free kick, a soft one if you go by the reaction of the Olympic players. And Luke Berean, who I can almost guarantee will have instantly put that rather rare lapse in judgment behind him, will take the free kick. It's only as far as the head of White, though, and will come forward again through Lucas. Here's White once again. Scholl wanted to run. Instead, it's to Lofthouse, just over his head. He's closed down by Thompson. Don't put it past Lofthouse to get past Thompson here, though. He does brilliantly. Plays the ball inside. It's hacked clear by Kim. Only as far as Ito. Will he have a shot? No, he plays it into Scholl. Scholl and Smith trip over themselves. Smith with the shot. It's deflected away by Jared. Cross comes in again over the top. It was so close from Lucas, who rose highest in the penalty area. But if anything, he rose too high and just headed that ball over the top. Olympic are really knocking on the door now. And Lions have just over 10 minutes to survive. It's still Lions 2, Olympic 1, but that's in no small part due to a small ray of fortune in that Chris Lucas and Alex Smith couldn't get their shots away, and indeed UL Scholl. Here's Lofthouse. Lofthouse wins the free kick. He perhaps could have asked Matt Skinner to play a little bit more advantage, but it's always a tough one, advantage, because you play it, you get criticised, you don't play it, you get criticised if a player does eventually get past, and he may well have only got past his opponent due to the fact that the whistle had gone. Kumineo launches this one forward towards Smith. Smith leaps and wins the header, but it falls at the feet of Reardon. Reardon up forward towards Makwaze. It's cut out by Waters. Here's White once again. Ito. Olympic have so many playmakers, Ito and White now in the heart of that midfield. It's hammered clear by Carlos. Here's an opportunity for Madley. Madley hammers into Kumineo. No decision from the referee. Instead, it's just a yellow card for Madley. And that might have been for his reaction. Initially, Matt Skinner just waved away both appeals as the two players collided, both, in his view, making a genuine attempt to win the ball. But Madley, who is lying flat on his back at the moment, wanted something more, and he may have suggested that Matt Skinner should have given something more, and that is what resulted in the card. Madley is down injured, though. No treatment forthcoming at the moment. Perhaps he's just pressing his case. Matt Skinner saying if you're going to lie down, you're going to need to get treatment, so he does invite the Lions physio on. Well-timed use of the siren from the Olympic fans. Hopefully Madley won't need an ambulance. He's talking plenty, exchanging a few words with Brandon Kumineo, who perhaps says, well, you know, it was a 50-50, we both collided with each other. That's certainly not how Marek Madley saw it. It looks like Lions are hoping to make a substitution. As Madley limps to the sideline. Not sure whether we've made the substitution or not. I don't think we have. No, it's obviously in the hands of the referee. We may well just remind you that there is in fact a club for everyone to play at here in Queensland. I might just keep our eye on this. No, we will go to advertising. There is a club for every single player here in Queensland and indeed across the country, whether you're just starting out or have been doing it for years. There's over 2,200 clubs across Australia. There's bound to be one just for you. Boys and girls can start playing for a club of the year. They turn 6. So visit playfootball.com.au to find your nearest club and get involved. And of course, for the real young ones, between 4 and 9 years old, the Aldi Mini Roos is an introductory program for children that will involve a 45-minute game with each child getting a Mini Roos participant pack. Includes a boot bag, football, water bottle and a sticker sheet, so something for all the kids there. And that's where the future of the game will come from. Jason McQuarrie gets a stern talking to from our referee, Mr. Skinner, and we're going to see a substitution here. And Andy Thompson, who's been very impressive in dealing with Jez Lofthouse, looks to be the man who will be withdrawn. And I'm guessing that'll be to allow Josh Brindle-South to enter the fray. It's an interesting one, this. Thompson has been so adept at dealing with the threat that Jez Lofthouse has provided over on this right-hand side of the Lions' defence. Not suggesting in any way, shape or form that Josh Brindle-South will not be able to deal with it just as well. But with only a few moments remaining, Josh Brindle-South is in nowhere near the right position. Now he's able to trot over. Lions players are blowing up Deluxe. That play was allowed to continue before their players were in position. The ball is hooked in. Smith's there. It's going to fall for Nazari, is it? White has possession. He plays in Nazari again. Hatfield back doing his defensive duties. It's still there for Nazari though, and White, who's closed down by Madley. Madley bounces into White, who goes down very quickly, but nevertheless, if Merrick Madley bumped into me, I dare say I'd hit the deck pretty quick as well. He's a tall, powerful individual, Madley. He trots back now to do his defensive work. Josh Brindle-South rises highest. Smith's there. It's in though. It's in off the foot of Chris Lucas. Disaster for Lions. Ecstasy for Olympic. We're all square with under 10 minutes remaining. Grandstand finish here at Lions Stadium. It's Lions 2, Olympic 2. Josh Brindle-South was the man who rose highest to try and get the ball off the head of Alex Smith, but Alex Smith out-jumped him. And then in the chaos that ensued right in front of Luke Barring, Chris Lucas just slid in and the ball hit his foot and went into the back of the net. His 10th goal of the season in just 8 matches. What will Lions respond with now? Glover heads that ball away when Madley was lurking. Carlos gives away a free kick for a foul on Kazuya Ito. Ito rather hopefully asking for a free kick, or at least a yellow card perhaps, to be shown to Mitch Hall for kicking the ball away. Well, really, Mitch Hall just got his ball caught underneath his foot. Hit Josh Brindle-South. This is why he was brought onto the field, to add some pace down that right-hand side and perhaps keep Jez Lofthouse in check. McQuarrie, Mitch Hall, Kim, in towards Hatfield. The flag is up, and despite Hatfield putting the ball in the back of the net, it will not stand. He did look offside, Chris Hatfield. Brandon Kumineo pleading with his defence to keep calm. Trust the process. The words to that effect. Kumineo hacks that one forward towards Scholl, who leaps and gets his head onto it. Smith can't help it, back towards Scholl though, and Lions will clear. His aim towards Madley. Kumineo inside to Ito. Scholl towards Lucas, well headed away by Reardon. Still there for Scholl though. Scholl, Smith, back to Ito. Over the top towards Nazari. Nazari, that's really poor from Zelfi Nazari. He keeps the ball out after trying to, I guess, play the ball forward so he can release the ball into the penalty area with a sweeping cross. He's unable to do so, but Lions still have possession. It's hacked clear though. Madley doing battle with Waters. It's one that you just have to keep your eye on because those two giant men, really, giants of the local game, did battle. Madley wins a free kick for that intervention from Waters. There was a fair bit of asking going on from the Lions bench. The protestations continue from Olympic. If anything comes from this, you imagine those protests will extend even further. Alex Smith now having a word with Matt Skinner, a Total Tools official. Did look like Christian Waters just held his ground, to be honest. Matt Skinner holds his watch, signifying that time is off. Can Lions find a winner? They did lead by 2-0 midway through the first half. Glover heads the ball clear. Lofthouse can't get his foot onto it though. Makwaze gets the better of Kumineo. Makwaze has Poor on the outside. Makwaze, it's only headed on by Glover. It's there for Reardon. He provided the dagger to the heart of Olympic by equalising in the grand final. Nathan Reardon. He's lurking around the penalty area once more in the closing stages here of round 10. There's only injury time remaining after this, you'd think. Can Lions get a late winner and undo all the excellent work that Olympic have done in coming from 2 goals down? Madley was there. It's hammered clear though by James Kumineo. To raucous cheers. Lucas goes down. The Lions bench explode. Mitch Hoare is the guilty party. Every single player up. Lions have not drawn a game in the regular season since the 22nd of July 2017, and that was in Flight Centre Brisbane Premier League. 2-2, that game finished against Mitchelton. Well, the grand final of 2018, of course, was level before Lions won in extra time. That was cheeky from Kazuya Ito. The ball was not stopped, and Mitch Hoare played on, and perhaps not to his advantage in the end. Lions give away possession. Scholl. Lofthouse has Smith outside him. Lofthouse might not need Smith. He cuts back inside. Shoots! That's a really good save! Lucas is following up. Lucas goes down. It's a corner. And it could have been so much more. Even at this late stage of the match, Jez Lofthouse is full of running. It was a lovely shot. It was well saved by Berean. But the follow-up, Chris Lucas showing what a dangerous player he can be. Lions will need to defend well here. Smith rises highest. It's well over the top. There will be a head injury though, and I think Alex Smith is holding his face out of frustration, more out of pain, but I can't quite see the player's number plate. It is actually Chris Hatfield, who had that goal ruled out for offside a few moments ago. He wore one on the back of the head and he staggers to his feet. That's an ugly look. He looks to be in a fair bit of pain. There is still a substitution up. No, there is no more substitutions up either coach's sleeve. Warren Moon has rolled all of his die, as has Ben Khan. Yeah, Chris Hatfield's in a fair amount of discomfort there. He will be okay to continue, although he's being supported by Sean Carlos. Hatfield is just being led into position by Sean Carlos, and Sean Carlos might be saying, you might need to go off here. Matt Skinner's decided to have a closer look and get involved here. Hatfield is wandering into his left wing position. He's still holding his head. Matt Skinner's having a look. He will be able to continue. Seems to be some confusion as to what's going on. Chris Hatfield staying on the field. Luke Boreans playing the ball from the goal kick. Steve White wins the header from that goal kick. Here is Hatfield, crowded out by 3 Olympic players. Smith in all sorts of space. Here's an opportunity for Chris Lucas, bearing down on goal. Can he win it for Olympic? Brindle South is the only player there with Jez Lofthouse lurking. It's still there for Scholl. Great tackle from Mitch Hoare. He lumps it up forward towards Madley. Makwaze looks for an option to his right. There isn't one. He turns into trouble. Gets fouled though by Steve White. There can only be a matter of seconds remaining in this one. Lions push forward. Olympic will hope to hold their line. Madley wants it played in behind. That's exactly where the ball is aimed. Madley leaps highest, gets his head on the ball, ahead of Glover, but Kumineo is back sweeping. Smith turns into Kim. It came off Kim last. He doesn't think so, but it seemed pretty clear from our angle. Smith plays the ball in. It's well cut out by Carlos. Carlos, though, runs straight into Yuval Scholl, who gives away a free kick for running into the back of Mitch Hoare. Scrappy end to this one as both teams hunt for a winner. It's been a long time since Lions last earned 1 point in the league. They went through the entire season last year without winning one. It was only 3 the year before. Oh, it's fallen at the back post for Madley! Madley wins it! That ball went all the way over the top of the Olympic defence. And who else but Marek Madley to get the winner? Lions win this one surely by 3 goals to 2. Madley with a brace. He's opened for scoring for Lions. He may well have closed the book on this one as well. Excellent composure to find the top corner, having run around the back of a defence like that. They celebrate accordingly. Is there enough time for one more twist and turn in this one? There might be some attention being shown to the Olympic bench. I don't think Ben Khan has been sent off, but I think one of the Olympic support staff has been sent off for something he said to the assistant on this near side. I'm not quite sure what the assistant on this near side can possibly have said. No, it is Ben Khan who has been sent from the field. He was furious the last time Olympic played a match here at Lions Stadium in the grand final. I dare say he's going to be equally frustrated this evening. He leaves the field and goes the other side of the advertising hoardings. He'll stand about 30 centimetres from where he was before. What can his side do to rectify this situation? They did so well to fight from 2 goals down to bring it back to 2-2, but that Marek Madley late dagger may well have been the end of what had been a valiant fight back. Olympics staring down the barrel of their second defeat of the season. Lions get back on the winning circle. It's their 7th win from 9 matches. They leap above Olympic into 3rd spot on the ladder, although Olympic do have a game in hand. But that was a thoroughly entertaining game of National Premier League's Queensland football. Lions, who led early through Marek Madley and then doubled their advantage from Sean Carlos. They were pegged back by a wonderful goal by Jez Lofthouse, and then Chris Lucas almost looked to have snatched a draw for Olympic at the death. But they did not account for the irrepressible Marek Madley, who ghosted in around the back of a defence and powered that ball into the top corner. A grandstand finish at Lions Stadium. It was everything we hoped for and more from a grand final replay. Disappointment for Olympic, They worked so hard to get themselves back into the match and look to avert that point. But you cannot keep a wounded Lion down, and they were wounded after losing by 1-0 down at Gold Coast Knights at the Croatian Sports Centre last weekend. A fantastic game here. Don't forget, you can watch all of the National Premier League's Queensland matches live over the course of the National Premier League's Queensland season in 2019. Next week, Perry Park will be the venue as Brisbane Strikers look to get their season back on track against the Brisbane Roar youth. Rafe Griffin will be in the commentary box for that one as I take a week off. It's been a real pleasure to bring you all the action from Lions Stadium here. We'll just run you through some of the other results. We've had a couple of thrillers up and down, apart from those early kickoffs, which all finished 3-1. That's the matches at Gold Coast United, 3-1 to United over Western Pride, 3-1 to Peninsula Power. They continue to march on in the race for the Premiership against South West Queensland Thunder up in Redcliffe, and Moreton Bay United also got a victory by 3-1 against Magpies Crusaders. Brisbane City managed to rectify the situation and secure a draw against Brisbane Roar Youth. Eastern Suburbs narrowly were unable to get themselves all 3 points, or indeed a draw at Heath Park. They fell to a 3-2 defeat to Gold Coast Knights, who will stay second. And then, of course, the phenomenal end to this match here at Lions Stadium, in which Lions snatched victory from the jaws of a draw, if that even comes close to making sense. It probably doesn't. That's been a fantastic game, and it's completely scrambled my brain. Simon Smale, we're here with you in the National Premier League's Queensland Round 10. It's been a pleasure to bring you this enthralling match. Can't wait to do it all again next time around. It's good night from me, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your sporting weekend.